Do you remember Gunsmoke's child cast? Apart from a decade-spanning soap opera, the idea that someone could be born after a show already started and then grow up enough to act on that same show 10, 12, even 15 years later is inconceivable for most series. But as classic TV fans know, Gunsmoke is not most series. The iconic Western aired 20 seasons over 2 decades from 1955 to 1975. We've highlighted historical things that lasted less time than the show and even pondered how long it would take to watch every episode back to back. Here are 9 actors born after Gunsmoke premiered, sometimes well after it lasted longer than many of its Western counterparts, who also appeared on the show years later. Jodie Foster. Gunsmoke was already 7 years in when this future Oscar winner was born in 1962. Foster first appeared in Dodge City at the very beginning of her career, in the 1969 episode Roots of Fear. 2 years later she was in P.S. Merry Christmas, and the year after that The Predators, pictured here. Her Christmas episode is a fan favorite and includes many other child stars like Aaron Moran before she became Joni Cunningham in Happy Days, and Willie Ames, who played Tommy Bradford in 8 is Enough. Next is Johnny Whitaker. Johnny Whitaker was born in 1959 during Gunsmoke's 5th season. He appeared in 3 episodes in the late 60s and early 70s, right in the middle of his time as Jody in the sitcom Family Affair. Whitaker's first Gunsmoke outing was The Returning, followed by the 2-part story, pictured here, Waste. The latter also featured Ellen Burstyn just a few years before she won her Oscar for Alice Doesn't Live Here Anymore. Next is the third person is Clint Howard. Though Ron Howard appeared in the Gunsmoke episode Charlie Noon, he was born in 1954. A year before the show started. His brother Clint, however, was born 5 years later, well after the classic Western became a hit. Clint appeared in the season 16 episode Murdoch alongside prolific character actor Jack Elam. Next is the fourth person Susan Olsen. 3 Brady kids appeared on Gunsmoke and all were born after the show started. Christopher Knight had a small role as a young boy in The Miracle Man, while Eve Plum played Sue, a girl learning her letters alongside Festus in Goldtown. But Susan Olsen actually had a recurring character on the classic Western, or at least played the same girl in 2 episodes a year apart. She was Mary Ann, who lived with her mother, Abelia, in Dodge City. Festus helped heal Mary Ann after a snake bite in Abelia, seen here. Then the mother and daughter appeared again in The Man Called Smith. The 5th person is Dawn Lynn. Dawn Lynn and her older brother Leif Garrett were born in the early 60s when Gunsmoke had already aired more seasons than many westerns at the time. But the show lasted so long the 2 child stars played siblings a decade later in the season 18 Gunsmoke episode The Sodbusters. The episode also featured the first of 2 Dodge City appearances by Han Solo himself, Harrison Ford. The 6th person is Pamela Ferdin. Classic TV fans no doubt recognize Pamela Ferdin from her many guest parts in shows like The Andy Griffith Show, Green Acres, and Star Trek. She was born during Gunsmoke's 4th season, then appeared almost 10 years later in the episode The Money Story. The plot revolves around a poor widower and his 2 kids. When their father can't get a bank loan, the children, with the help of a distracting dog, take a bag full of money from the bank. The 7th person is Lance Kerwin. Though Lance Kerwin was born at the beginning of Gunsmoke's 6th season, he was still able to appear on the show 15 years later in one of the last episodes. He played Tommy Harker, a boy whose education is interrupted by a stern father who believes his son is better off working on the farm. It's a touching episode about the importance of education and exemplifies Gunsmoke's quality even after 20 seasons. The 8th person is Melissa Gilbert. Gunsmoke was already 9 seasons in when Melissa Gilbert was born. 8 years later it provided Gilbert her first foray into TV's Old West and her first credited role. She played the daughter of a drunk in the episode The Judgment 2 years before starring with Michael Landon in Little House on the Prairie. The last person is 70s child star Ike Eisenman. Was born well into Gunsmoke's run in 1962, then appeared on the show in his first ever role 10 years later. He played 3 different kids on Gunsmoke in as many years. He was Susan Oliver's son in $11, Johnny, whose governess marries Newly Patricia and a boy named Caleb in the season 19 episode The Town Tamers. Thank you, classic TV fans. Which actor are you most impressed with? Let us know and let's discuss them. Thank you and see you in the next video.